Hey guys, this is the next video in my starter deck guide series where I give a rundown of the cards found in the starter decks followed by some gameplay. And I hope they can help out some of you who are just starting out. This time we'll cover Green Kid. I also previously made a video on a budget Green Kid deck that only uses 2 copies of the Green starter deck and no boosters in case that's something you'd like to try out as well. I'll leave a link in the description down below. The Green Kid starter deck is a mid-range deck, and Green Kid is my personal favorite to play. Unlike Red or Purple, where they have a clear playstyle that you follow, Green has the tools to adapt to most playstyles. You can drag the game out to the late game or go aggressive early. It really is up to you to decide which direction to go in any given game, and other than Kaido, Kid's flexible playstyle gives them a very good spread, and he matches up well against every other deck, going at least even against most of them. Kaido specifically is tough because sometimes you just can't generate enough aggression or tempo early to threaten lethal once you enter the late game and his big cards start dropping, and they don't have problems with removing your own large cards. The deck is great at controlling the board and pushing for damage, great at maintaining tempo or walling off your opponent. Board control is this deck's win condition and has great tools for that. The biggest weakness of this deck is its lack of removal. This deck does rely on knocking out characters through traditional attacks from your own characters or leaders. The only hard removal that this deck actually has is Killer, and he needs the target to be arrested, and you'll eventually find that conditional removal is a theme with green decks in general. Their other weaknesses are lack of small blockers, so Beige is actually pretty valuable relative to other one-cost vanilla blockers that other colors have. So one of the main reasons for this deck's flexibility and ability to adapt to most situations is because of the leader, Kid. He's going to be one of your best tools, and being able to attack twice just gives you so much utility. You can use him to control the board or push for more leader damage, and oftentimes he will actually be your finisher as well. Or at least the threat of his ability will provide additional pressure that they do have to respect. I'm glad that Vito is at 5,000 power, so he can at least swing at the enemy leader unassisted, making him a solid body they can play to help with board control or to add pressure, even though he does not provide any other effects or synergies. I like Urouge because this deck doesn't generally have a problem with having at least 2 other characters on the board. You can play him early and have him just hibernate until you meet his conditions or go for an opportune attack, or you can play him mid-game as a tempo play since he is pretty cheap body. Beige is just your standard 1-cost blocker, and as I mentioned earlier, even though he's just your standard 1-don blocker, he is valuable in the sense that he's actually your only other blocker, other than your 7-don kid. So I would be more careful using him compared to if I was playing another color. Killer is your only hard removal here, and like I said, he does need the target to be arrested. He's great for removing annoying minions. He's good for some early tempo if you're able to get his effect off, or better yet, get him off trigger. His uses are a bit limited, unfortunately, in the starter deck since your only resting card is Straw Sword, and you don't always want to burn that on such small targets. You will get a lot more use from him if you do expand your green deck beyond the starter deck, since green does have a few good activators for him. Cody's a solid body that also comes with 1,000 counter, so he's a welcome addition to this deck. Bonnie is one of your strongest cards. She lets you search and draw, giving you additional consistency and information in the process. She's already paid off just from one use, and any additional time you use her effect is just straight up value. She also has the added effect of basically being a blocker, since your opponent will likely try pretty hard to get her off the field. Apu is not the best card, but his effect can come in handy sometimes. His greatest contribution though is being a 2,000 counter, and I find myself usually just leaving him in my hand for that reason. Law is a good card for getting an additional attack or effect off if you need it, and has respectable stats as well. He's especially useful since this deck relies mostly on attacks to clear the board, and so the extra attack is nice to have. And that's why Hawkins is a very strong card. He and your leader will be the closest thing you have to board clear, and I would protect him a bit more aggressively since he can win you a game himself if he manages to stick and swing for a few turns. Heat is just a vanilla body who unfortunately does not have any real synergy with his deck, but at 4,000 and 2,000 Dawn, he's an okay card that does a decent job contesting the board and threatening their leader. Like Heat, Beppo is just a vanilla body, but he does have synergy with Drake, which does help out a bit. Kid is your strongest card and is probably your best board control tool. He has a strong effect that lets you attack on your turn, and at 7,000 attack, he's likely to land his hit while still also being able to defend with a large body that is hard to get past. I would lean on him a lot more, and since he is going to be one of your main win conditions, I would protect him as much as I can. Unless it's an empty board, where in that case, just slap this bad boy down. You're going to want to set up the board in a way, though, that you can provide support to Kid, usually with a combination of blockers or other threats that your opponent may have to deal with instead, or that can, at the very least, exploit any overextensions made by them while they're trying to deal with Kid. X-Drake offers good synergy with his deck since he's able to elevate some of your vanilla cards, which can sometimes be the difference between a below average board state and a good one. Keep in mind, though, that when he is rested, he also does benefit from his own 1,000 power buff. Scalpel and Repel are just your standard event counters meant to protect yourself or your other characters. Their additional effect lets you place an active Dawn, so you can chain these using less Dawn, which can come in handy since you do want to protect your characters as best as possible. Finally, Straw Sword is another card with good green synergy, especially since your main way of controlling the board is through attacks. And that's the quick rundown of the cards in this deck. So let's hop into a few games. Alright, so we have a red-green law here. Red-green laws are always an interesting matchup. It is not particularly great hands, so let's just mulligan that away. Alright, this is looking a little bit better. The key thing in this matchup is to just try to get rid of their minions as best we can. Or if we have the opportunity to swing at face, we take it as well. They are, because he is dual color, he is a lower life total than us. Yeah, I'm okay with taking that. Oh, he's a Zoro. Okay. I'm not inclined to use Kobe's counter because we don't really have any other play, but oh, that's perfect. All right, I'm just gonna drop. Yeah, I'm gonna drop Hawkins down while he is basically a free drop. And we have been able to basically match his board, except our character's a lot stronger than his. That's one of the strengths of green, that they can just flood the board like this pretty early. Okay, Jet Pistol is not great. Okay, let's try to drop a law here. Oops. Okay. Take another swing. Oh, I did not realize he played that actually. No matter. Hopefully that misplay doesn't cost us. And again, if you guys are not aware, this is the OPTCG sim that was created by Batsu over at the One Piece Discord. Okay, I was trying to fish for a blocker, like a kid or something, but didn't have the luck there. Okay, let's start swinging first. Oh man, that's pretty good for him. He's gotten 2 pretty good triggers already as well. We do want to save some Dawn here for Repel and Scalpel. So 3 Dawn should be enough to activate the 5 Dawn worth here. We have some counters. Maybe we'll be able to pull this out. Three Dawn left. I think we drop the Veto. Okay. Well, we'll both have 1 life. This is a pretty quick game, so this game is probably decided either this turn or next. But we do have a lot of counters in hand, so I feel relatively confident. So thanks to the abilities of these 2 cards, where they reset Dawn, we were able to effectively use our mana pretty well. Okay, I think we definitely do want to protect him. And I think we can actually finish him off here now. So let's start off with... Okay, and this is likely going to be game. I think we just go all in here. There's no way he can. Yep, and there we go. Yeah, and so see, we were able to match their early aggression with our own early aggression as well, and we were able to control their board well enough, and with plenty of counters in hand like this, we were able to protect ourselves to allow us to stabilize. And Kid basically was the Kid leader was the deciding factor in the end for us getting lethal. Alright, here's a mirror match. This is not a great hand, so... But at least we have a 1-drop here. Because we are a starter deck and he is constructed, I think we are at a slight disadvantage here. Mirrors are always so much tougher of a matchup since you would be playing similar decks, and there's so many things to account for. Okay, just gonna swing here because Okiku's gonna rest him, or I guess Drake, anyways. He's gonna. Sorry, not Drake. I mean, yes, Drake. With our hand, we're likely going to have to go pretty aggressive this game. Okiku is a very strong card, and if you do decide to expand into green, it's a card I would highly recommend adding into your deck. She goes a long way to stopping a lot of early game presence. Since five Dawn or less is actually quite a bit of characters. Okay, he did commit a lot into these attacks here, which was expected. Take a peek here. What can we grab? Okay. Killer is very good, especially in this situation here. Let's just get rid of him real quick. Oh, there's Kid. Kid's a pretty important card in this matchup as well. But he's a 6, so let's hope he does not drop the 8 Dawn Kid, because then we'd be in real trouble. We want to get down our Kid before he gets down his. Especially since our Kid is only the 7 Dawn one. Okay, I'm fine with giving up money. I've already gotten some value out of her. Use her twice. Okay, that's fine. Alright, let's just drop this bad boy down here. And let's Start off by swinging here. Okay, and I'm just gonna push for a little bit more damage here as well. She's going to rest Beige. Okay, he's getting a little bit low. And this is not exactly a threat he can just easily ignore either. Okay, there goes Killer. He has already committed 5 Dawn, so we might be looking good here. I don't have to block with Kid. Or Beige. We're pretty healthy, so I'm fine with just taking damage here. Do we have any supernovas? Okay. Yeah. I think I would actually rather just hold on to this. In case he does end up dropping a blocker if we're not able to finish him off next turn. Okay. He only has 1 Dawn, so we're going to need 5 on him. He at most can only play Paradise Waterfall, I believe. So let's just... He'll need 5, he'll need 2. Okay. We're going to commit into an all-out attack here. Okay, let's just start swinging, make him use up his large hand. We'll get rid of Beppo here. Swing again. He now has to use it up or else he just loses. And there we go. As I mentioned earlier, this is a mirror match, and technically it's a mirror match, and so it should have been a match between similar decks, but because we are a starter deck and he is a constructed deck, he is in a stronger position than we are. He has stronger cards like Okiku and X-Drake, probably 8 Dawn and 7 Dawn kids as well. And so we chose the more aggressive route because we are not able to outgrind him into the late game. So our best hope was to just maintain early tempo and swing as much as possible. And as you can see, both kids ended up being the game changer there, where the multiple swings from Kid was just too much for him to keep up, and we were as well as the big 7,000 attack here ended up being what gave us lethal. And that is personally what I love the most about this deck. You're not pigeonholed into a specific playstyle. You are able to adapt and adjust as the game goes based on who you're playing and as different situations arise because of the different tools that this deck offers. And that is it for my Green Kids starter deck guide. If you guys enjoyed this type of content, please consider leaving a like below and subscribing to the channel. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.